this is Jared, and this is Kidtalk.
Kidtalk is where we interview people who make games, design games,
And pretty much anyone who likes games.
Yeah, and today we're interviewing Justin and Anne-Marie De Witt.
From Fireside Games.
Hi!
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here.
Do you want to ask your first question, Peyton?
Why don't you tell us a little about Fireside Games?
So Fireside Games is a company that we started way back in 2008 when we decided we wanted to make our own games. I've been making games since I was a kid, actually about your age, and we decided, you know what, we should make our own, because I had this idea for this castle game that was going really well, and we decided we'd go ahead and start it. And we launched Castle Panic in 2009. It was the first game we ever made, and we weren't sure how well it was going to do, but we wanted to try. Turned out it did really, really well, so we started making more games and more games and more games, and kept up with that. And then in 2012, Anne-Marie came on board full-time. It was just me with her helping on the weekends and evenings, but in 2012, it became the official thing we both do. So it's now our job, both of us. We work on it full-time, and we've made a lot of games, and we're working on making more.
Do you both make the games together, or does one of you design the games and one of you creates it?
Usually it starts with one person is the core designer, and they're really the designer of the game. They really kind of own those core mechanics. And the other one helps with development and has ideas for the design and how to improve the game. So the process becomes very collaborative. We work really well together, but it usually starts as one person's idea.
Right. It's always kind of a team effort, but like she said, there's one person kind of driving the whole thing.
But do you only have Fireside Games, or do you have any other games?
So Fireside Games is the name of our company, and then we have a lot of games that are a part of what we call our catalog. So those are all the games that we publish under Fireside Games. So Castle Panic was our first one, and that has 3 expansions right now: the Wizard's Tower, Dark Titan, and Engines of War. We can tell you all about those. And then we have what we call variations in the Panic line, and there's Dead Panic, which is a zombie version, Munchkin Panic, which we did with the license with Steve Jackson Games for Munchkin, the card game, and then Star Trek Panic, which USAopoly, or the Op.
That's what they're called now.
Yeah. And so we did that one with them. Justin did all the designing, but they did the publishing. We also have Bears, which is a really fast-paced dice game. Here Kitty Kitty, which is a cat collecting game. Dastardly Dirigibles, which is a game.
Dastardly Dirigibles?
You got it. First try. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, you're building steampunk airships. And they're really pretty. We can show you that one. Let's see. The Village Crone, where you're trying to become the witch for a village, and you're casting spells on people, making them fall in love, and things like turning them into frogs and things like that.
That's what witches do. I mean,
yeah. And so there are all kinds of. There are more.
Oh yeah, there's more than that. Yeah, we have a bunch of them. I forgot. At one point, I think we're up to 13 or 14. I've lost count.
I can't remember now.
Yeah.
What's your favorite game that you create, and what's your favorite game that you didn't make?
Well, for me, I think my favorite game we made is a game called Hotshots. It's a game where you're playing together as a team. So it's kind of like Castle Panic. It's a co-op game. The game's fighting back. But in this one, you're playing as firefighters, but the kind of firefighters that fight forest fires. Ooh, that's hard to say. So you're out in the wilderness, and these fires spread around this map, and you have to put them out. It's really good. I like it better than Castle Panic, I think. So that's my favorite one from our catalog. What about you?
Same. I really like. I really like Hot Shots. It's a lot of fun.
What about your favorite game that you didn't make?
Ooh. That's hard. I've seen before. You guys have agreed. This is a hard question. But if I'm just going to pick a game randomly that I like the most, I'd probably say Splendor. I really like Splendor a lot. That's good.
Splendor?
Yeah, it's a really good game. It's a game about mining jewels, but it's not really about mining jewels. It's a game where every card you buy helps you buy more cards and get more points, and it's this thing where everything you buy makes it better and better. It's really fun. I like it. I feel like every time I play, I get a little better at it. So that's a good.
Isn't that what you call an engine building game?
Yes, it is, sir. It is an engine builder indeed. It's one of the best engine builders in my opinion, too. What about you? Would you?
Well, for a long time, in fact, I had an interview last week where I said Splendor, and I love Splendor. But I'm starting to rethink. I think Wingspan might be my favorite game right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
We have Wingspan right.
Yep, I see it.
Right next.
There.
Panic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's another engine builder too. So yeah, very cool.
I like engine builders.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't like engine builders?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
It does sound like both of you like them.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. I like other games too, but yeah, when I'm put on the spot, that's probably the one I'd pick if I had to play right now.
But do you like Fireside Games more?
Well, I do, but sometimes working on Fireside is hard work, and I like to take a break and play something that I didn't make. I want to play something different, get new ideas, see what new people are playing. So
Yeah.
there's so many fun games out there. I want to play more than just the ones I made. But yeah, I like a lot of our games. We do play them now and then.
If you were to teach a game, which game would you teach first?
Would I teach, like from our catalog, one of the ones we made?
Just
Oh.
any game.
Oh,
Are you thinking about if we're trying to get someone into the hobby and we want to introduce them to a game?
No, if you were going to teach a game,
Okay.
like
if
kidsplaining.
I was going to kids playing a game, well, I'd probably start with Castle Panic because that's the one that everybody knows is for them. And then I would I'd probably say Hotshots, but it's not in print right now, so that's one problem. After
What about
that,
Stringamajig?
Stringamajig is
Yeah.
very good, and that's an easy one to teach too.
Yeah.
Our fun new party one.
I just read the rules this morning for
Mhm.
like 1 or 2 minutes, and I already kind of know how to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty easy, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a really fun little party game. So yeah, that's an easy one to teach too. So yeah, that'd be an excellent one to do. I like that one.
But don't you actually mean adults playing?
Adults playing. Not just every other show though. Who wants to
Yeah.
watch that? Yeah.
How did you come up with the artwork for Castle Panic?
Well, my background is graphic design and illustration, which is the fancy way of saying I went to school to learn how to draw really well. And when we came up with it, we knew we wanted like fantasy with orcs and trolls and goblins and all that. But I wanted it to be kind of just sort of simple. I wanted it to be really easy to approach and not too scary, not too cartoony, but not too goofy. So splitting that fine line was a little bit tricky. As an artist, I actually had to kind of come up with a new style than I was used to. My normal style is a lot more cartoony. It's more like what we did for our game Bears. It's really cartoony that way. So I had to kind of do something that was a little more realistic, but I didn't want it to be super realistic and scary because the game's not that realistic and scary. So it was kind of back and forth. The way I work as an artist is I will draw it on paper by hand first, and then I'll scan that into the computer, and then I'll color the art on the computer. So it's kind of half computer, half drawn. That's the way I kind of grew up doing it, basically, and it lets me fix my mistakes really easy too. So that's good. I'm not much of a painter in real life. I'm much better with a computer. So yeah, the idea was, to have spooky goblins that were kind of scrawny and scratchy, and then our bigger orcs that were a little scary, and then our trolls were going to be really big and stompy and all that. So I had that kind of figured out. And then in the expansions, I got to do fun things like flying monsters. I got to make a dragon and gargoyles that fly, and then there's fire-breathing monsters. So I got to draw all sorts of fun stuff like that. And then down the road, I got other artists to help me. There was so much art, I needed some help. So sometimes I would draw the pencil sketch and send it to them, and they would color it. It was a lot of teamwork on that kind of thing, and it was very fun to work on. So yeah.
What made you think of Fireside Games?
The name or just the idea of the company? What do you mean?
Like both.
Both? Well, we knew we wanted to make our own company. So way back when, I actually worked for a company called Steve Jackson Games. You might know them. They make Munchkin. I'm trying to think of any other ones you guys might know.
Deadly Doodles.
Yes, Deadly Doodles. They make that one. Yep. So I worked for them a long time ago. And when I was there, I had ideas for games, but they make a different kind of game than we do. It's not really the same thing. So it didn't really make sense for me to just take my games and give them to them. So we started working on them, and we decided, what if we made our own company and did our own kind of game? Because we make a lot of games that are really good if you're just getting started in the hobby. If you don't really know a lot about gaming, they're games you can play that aren't too scary or too hard. So that was a big thing we wanted to do. And I had a bunch of ideas. It wasn't just one game I wanted to make. So we decided, why don't we make our own company? We saved up a whole bunch of money, and we started our own company. And before that, we had to have a name. So we sat down and we started thinking about names. We had some really silly names. There's a list of about 100 names we came up with, most of which aren't very good.
Can you tell us one of them?
what were some of the, one was Little Dog Games, because we had a little dog at the time. Thought that was funny, but who's going to buy that?
Yeah.
It's just a game about little dogs.
Yeah, right? And it's a whole company about little dogs? That's not a game company, yeah. So
And you
we
only sell games about little dogs.
Right. We had one where we thought we were really smart. It was some like Egyptian god name. Oh, Thoth. Thoth is the Egyptian god of the scroll. And we're like, wow, isn't that good? It's not good. It's not good. So,
It would be a bunch of games about scrolls.
yeah, exactly, right? You like Egyptian scrolls? Come down to our game. Yeah. So we thought, what do we like? What we like is people coming together, sitting around a table, and playing like together, being in a team. And there's that old saying of sit down by the fire and play a game, you know, or the fireside is what they used to call that. And we like the idea of that. It feels real homey and just friendly, and it's nice. It's not something scary. You don't have to be like, oh, it's a scary game company.
I mean, Fireside Games is about inviting people in, you know, and everyone's welcome at the table. Everyone's welcome to play the games. We have very welcoming games, and so we wanted a welcoming name.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you publish games that other people made?
We do actually, yes. You want to handle this one?
Yeah, sure. When we started off, we really focused on Justin's designs, and then I got inspired by Justin and designed my own games. And so for a long time, it was just our games. And then we actually had an employee, our customer service manager, who made Here Kitty Kitty. And we thought that was such a great game that we decided to contract with her and pick that one up from her. Justin's going to grab it. So that made us think, you know, there were probably lots of, you know, nice designs out there that would fit the catalog well. And so we started going to what are called publisher speed dating sessions, where we would sit down and we would listen to a pitch for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then they would rotate to the next table and we would hear the next design pitch. And so we would get to hear like, I don't know, 20 different designs in a night, and decide if we wanted to pick any up. And so that's how we've picked up some. We also have people just email us ideas, and you know, we'll have to set aside some time where we just look at all of those. Usually it takes us a day to just go through all of them and try to pick something. And so we've published other games, and we're trying to also go back, and Justin has just all kinds of notes for other games. So we're trying to go back and look at his notes and see what new games we want to come back out with.
But if you didn't create, design, and publish games, what would you do instead?
Well, I would probably do what I was doing before. I was working in educational publishing. I was the vice president of product development for special education materials. So I would help struggling readers and kids who are learning English as a second language, and you know, kids that had other disabilities. So I would probably keep working on products for education.
That's fantastic. And before I did this, I was working as a graphics person, doing everything from video games to animation to educational software, just anything that I could get away with basically drawing for a living. So I'd probably go back to that. I like graphics. That's fun. I like drawing pictures, but I like making games more.
How many games do you have?
Like our collection? 200-ish, 3?
Somewhere in.
I mean, if you count the garage, yeah. It's a pretty big pile, but honestly, we've trimmed it down. At one point, we probably had over 500 games, but what we found is there were a lot of them that we didn't really like that much. We had them, and it was fun, but the ones we play, it's not that big of a number. So we've started trimming out and getting rid of ones that we don't really play that often. So when we open up our closet and go, I want to play a game, everything in it is something we love. So sometimes the number is not as important as what you got in it. For a long time, we would keep games that we thought the game itself maybe we didn't enjoy, but there was like this one mechanic that was really cool, and that we thought could inspire some ideas around that specific mechanic. So for a long time, we had a bunch that were like that, and then we're like, okay, we know what the mechanics are. We don't have to keep the game. Right. If we don't want to play it, we don't want to play it. Yeah.
You told us that you were creating and designing games when you were our age. How did you do that?
Yeah, it was something that I was really excited about as a kid. What I usually started with is I would take a game that was already out there, and I would just try to make something new out of the same pieces. Like, can I use these pieces in a different way? That's always been kind of fun. Like, I remember one of my earlier memories was a copy of Stratego at a friend's house. I don't know if you guys have even played Stratego. I liked it, but I didn't like what it did. I love the pieces. Stratego has a neat thing where all my pieces are facing me, and all you see is the back of them. So you don't know what my pieces are, but I do. I thought that was really neat. And I played around making a different game out of it, ignoring the rules, just using the pieces, and that was really fun. I would do that kind of thing now and then. And then I started just making my own games, cutting pieces out of cardboard or whatever. It was basically something if I liked something, I wanted to see if I can make a game out of it. So I would see a TV show that I liked, and I'd be like, oh, I want to do that. Or a movie that had a cool car chase or something. I would put that and try and make a game out of that. And they weren't all very good. In fact, most of them were really bad. And I just kept trying. And it was a fun thing for me to do. And then eventually I got better and better at it. And I would make my friends play them. And sometimes they liked them, sometimes they didn't. But it kind of stuck with me for a while, and then went away for a bit. And then it came back later on. And that's what led to like Castle Panic and stuff. So yeah, it was mostly it was really just playing around, stuff like that. So very fun.
Were the games you made as a kid, were they kind of Fireside Games?
Sort of. Fireside Games are a lot better than the games I made as a kid. They were fun though. I had a couple that were co-op, sort of, like where you kind of work together. There was one where you had to fight a dragon together. It didn't work very well, but it was a neat idea. Most of them were more like kind of what I grew up with. So where it was like me versus you, and we're gonna have a fight somehow. Like one of them was, I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Tron with the light cycles that run around. It's probably too recent for you guys, but yeah, it's or too old rather. So there's two versions. There's a really old one that I'm talking about, and then there's the new one. But anyway, so in Tron, there's this cool thing where they have these light cycles that leave walls behind them. So it's like a snake. Every time you make a corner, you leave the wall longer and longer. And the idea is you want to get the other guy to bang into it. And I thought that was super cool. And there was no board game for it. So I came home from the store very sad. I couldn't play this board game. So I made my own basically out of it. And it's an okay game. You roll some dice, you move, you leave a wall behind you. The bad guy crashes into it, hopefully, and you win. So good, but Fireside Games are so much better just because games have gotten better, and there's so much more influence you can take now when you play like a Ticket to Ride or a Catan or something. You can look at all these great ideas and how they work and make something good kind of based on those neat ideas. So
you should never worry about making a bad game, because that's just the experience you need to make a good game.
Exactly.
We used to make games out of Legos that I thought were really fun, and I still have the rules for one of them somewhere. It was like a Harry Potter game.
Nice.
Where like you can teleport, or like you can freeze somebody, or just stuff like that, where your goal is to beat the other person's teacher.
Nice. That sounds great.
Yeah.
That totally sounds like a blast. You know, I use Legos in some of my games still every now and then. If I'm prototyping something and I don't know what it needs to be, maybe it's this big, maybe it's this big, is it this wide, or I just need a weird piece, I'll make it out of Legos still. So yeah, that's a great way to do it. And you can always take it apart if you need to and make it different. So yeah, it's a great idea to prototype. Awesome.
But it's really hard to make Lego cards.
Yes.
It's impossible to make Lego cards.
No, it's not. It's actually really easy, only if you have the right sized flat Lego pieces.
Oh, I see what you say. Wow, that would be pretty heavy. A deck of Lego cards would get pretty big. Pretty quick.
Okay,
Hard to shuffle, yeah.
let me shuffle these Lego cards. How do I shuffle this?
Right, I'll be back in an hour.
Or it would be like, boop. And they can't and they're pushing the button for the card shuffler, and it's not shuffling.
Like,
No,
you see it moving, and it's just like, why is it not shuffling? Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle.
Yep. They have not made Lego cards.
And there would be Lego cards, so you'd be like, which card is which? These are not cards. How do I shuffle these cards?
I'm shuffling bricks. You know, Lego actually made some board games a few years ago. I don't know if they do anymore. You might have to look on eBay or something to find them, but they actually made board games that had all sorts of neat bits where you could build things and add on. They had a really cool one. It was a 6-sided die that you could put pieces on to change what it was when it rolled. So like you changed the dice as you played. That was really neat. I wish they still made those. Those were cool.
I hope they still make those, because that sounds amazing.
Yeah, they were fun. I played a couple.
Or this would happen if you tried to make the Lego things. You'd be like, I can't. Or like you'd draw one and be like, You tried drawing it, but you kept drawing the whole thing because they're all connected.
I don't want the entire thing. Oh no, I broke the entire deck.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? And then those pieces are on the floor and somebody steps on them. And that's never good. So yeah.
Ow.
Or if you made an actual Lego game and you were just like this with the box and you dropped it, it would just break apart.
Yeah, then the game would be gone.
Yep.
You'd have to have like instructions on how to make it and instructions on how to play it.
Yes, exactly.
At least for our table, if it was like a game like Stringamajig, it would just be like, I'm going to sit it down, but there's a crack right here, and it would just fall and break on the floor.
Oh no.
Well, actually, it would break inside the table.
You'd lose so many pieces.
I know this game had 100 pieces. Why does it only have 50? Where'd they go?
Yeah.
That would be bad.
Except if we lost those, we would have like 1,000 more pieces.
That's the way to do
If
it.
it was Stringamajig, we could easily make that, except how they're so...
What?
Except how the hand...
Right? The Lego string would be hard to do. It'd be hard to make a string out of Legos, I think.
It's actually
Yeah.
easy. There's actually an easy way to do it. You just put like ball and joint pieces together
That
really
could work.
long.
You need a lot of them, but yes, that's true. So I take it back. You could do one.
Then there's
Actually-
also pieces that are like hinges that are really tiny. You could make a kind of long string
I
that
made
would
a-
be normal size.
I made a giant snake with the joint pieces.
Sweet.
How long did it take you to make games, and what advice do you have for us to make games? Because that's what we're doing right now. We're making a few games.
Well, the length of time can really vary a lot. Castle Panic took a decade.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
off and on.
long.
Well, because it started, Justin, we were both working full time at other jobs. And so he would bring it out and work on it a couple of days, and then it'd be months before he worked on it again. And it started off in a pizza box where we had, he drew, the colors of the arcs and rings on the top of the pizza box. And then inside we had all the parts and pieces for the game. And we would take it to game night with friends, and they'd ask to play it, So once he started working on it seriously, it took about 5 months to finalize the gameplay, and then a couple of months on art, maybe.
Yeah.
And then the manufacturing took about 4 months,
Mhm.
and then we had shipping took another month. So it can take a while. And then there are other games that just almost kind of fall together. Like Bears took me 2 weekends,
Mhm.
and then the art was really quick. And so from the time I had the idea until we were playing it at Gen Con, it was just a few months. So
Mhm. Yeah.
it really can vary depending on how much comes to you at once.
Yeah, and how much you need to work on it. That's the other thing. Because I would say the best piece of advice I always give designers is to test it a lot. Play it a lot till you think it's good, and then play it with other people, and then go play it with people that maybe you have to talk to your mom and dad, but find a way to play with people you don't know that well, that aren't necessarily your friends, who are going to say, oh yeah, it's fine. You want somebody who says, I don't like this one rule, or that card, I don't like the way that card plays, and you can think about, oh, that's a good point. They're right. I should fix that, because you can make your game way better when you find out what's bad about it and focus on what's good about it too. So play testing, they call that, and that's the best thing you can do is play test, and you'll know at a point where it's like, wow, basically everyone has nothing but good feedback. Everyone understands how to play. Nobody's confused by the rules. You can move on from there. So yeah, that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
But about what you said about the pizza box, you put the pieces in a pizza box, I feel like every once in a while, if you ordered a pizza, then you got it mixed up, you'd bring the game to a place and you open it up. Where's the game?
Where's the game?
Every once in a while, you'd want to eat the pizza. You open it up, Where's the pizza?
Or if
It
it was
smelled very good.
or if it was a pizza game, you might accidentally eat the game.
Oh no, careful, right? Yep. I will say the game did smell very good every time we took it. There could be pepperoni monsters and stuff, but no. I kept the box really clean. I picked the cleanest one we had to make sure it worked. But yeah. And we were very careful not to eat it.
I feel like you were just right. Not pizza. It's a
Right.
game.
Yeah.
So that you wouldn't get it mixed up at all.
Right. But label pizza, not
Yeah.
pizza. Just make sure you get it
Yeah.
straight. Yeah.
We managed not to eat the game.
Yes, it's true.
Or you just put a postcard on it,
Mhm.
like pizza game. This is not a pizza. It's a game.
Yep.
Unless you work for Bezier
It's
Games,
not related to this.
pizza slice,
No, Peyton.
Oh, New York Slice?
New York slice.
Yeah, that's a pizza game. Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes in a pizza box.
Yeah.
I know you had a Kickstarter campaign on Castle Panic Deluxe, but you had to cancel it. Can you tell me what happened?
Yeah, we wanted to see if people were interested because for years people have been asking for a Castle Panic with plastic pieces, plastic walls, plastic towers, monsters, basically a really fancy version. And we knew people had asked for it, but we also knew it was going to be kind of expensive and tricky to make. So we thought, let's launch that on Kickstarter, see if people are serious about it, and if it works, we'll go ahead and make the expansions. Because we weren't sure if people were really going to want to do it. Well, it turns out they really wanted it. They wanted it so bad that everybody said, wait, this isn't everything ever made for Castle Panic? We don't want that. We want everything. So we started looking at like, well, can we add this? Can we add that? And the problem is we weren't ready for that. I don't have the miniatures for all the other games. I only have the miniatures for regular Castle Panic. So we basically said, okay, we hear that overwhelmingly everybody wants the whole enchilada, as they say. Enchilada being all the Castle Panics. So we said, okay, we're going to stop this campaign because it's not going to give people what they want. We'll come back later with everything in Castle Panic as deluxe as we can. And we're going to make it so people who just wanted regular Castle Panic can still just buy that. But we're going to give the people who want everything. So that's what we're working on these days. So yeah, it was stopped for all the right reasons. We needed to give everybody more, and we weren't set up to do it in that campaign. So we're gonna go back, work it all, make sure it's all really good, and then we'll do another one for the whole collection.
We're almost finished with the art for Wizard's Tower.
Yep.
And we found an artist to move on. Is it for the
Yeah,
Dark
got
Knight?
Dark Titan's already started. We're kind of it's rolling, so I'm not totally done with one before I start the next one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we found some sculpturists to help with the minis.
Mhm.
So
I'm getting cool new monster minis and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we're hoping that when we get, even a little further along, we'll have a really good idea of what date we can launch. And then having had all the art done and all the sculpts done, we'll be able to give everyone at the end of the campaign a really strong idea of when the game will be ready.
Right.
Because we don't want to have a campaign where, it funds and people are excited and then it takes forever for us to finish making
Yeah,
it and
I don't wanna do
forever
that.
to get it to, and then people are, like anxious to get it. So,
Or they forget they ordered it.
yeah.
But are they all gonna have like deluxe at the end of them, like Castle Panic Engines of War Deluxe?
Probably. I mean, it depends on how we sell them. There'll probably be some form of deluxe like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because they're all going to be super fancy. So yeah, they will all be deluxes.
I feel like that will be really long to say. Like, can we
Yeah.
play Castle Panic Deluxe with Castle Panic Engines of War Deluxe?
We'll probably combine it because usually the expansions you just call it by the expansion
Right.
name. Like, so it might be just like Engines of War Deluxe.
Right. And you wouldn't play the expansions on your own. They always come with Castle Panic. So you could say, let's play Engines of War Deluxe. But yeah,
It's still a really long game.
Oh yeah.
Still a really long
You see how
game.
big the box is going to be.
What is this? It's a big box for a game that I have, but it's tiny in the other one.
It's so fancy though. Yeah. It's going to be pretty cool. We're excited for that one.
I have a question for you.
Mhm.
What's your favorite holiday?
Oh, easy. Halloween.
We love Halloween.
I love Halloween. I've always been a kid who dresses up in costumes.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, I started getting into like making props and things. So I'm one of those people that has a yard that has like monsters in it and fog machine and smoke and light show and things like that. So yeah, our yard is always super scary and awesome on Halloween.
Yeah, he usually makes like a haunted yard, so there's a path you have to follow it. And it is so funny to see like grown men screaming as they're as they're running through it, And And just so many funny stories of
Oh, yeah.
like families going through.
Yeah, I'd have my friends over and they would help me like basically run a haunted house in my front yard kind of thing. But we do give away full-size Snickers bars if you make it through the haunted house. So it's pretty good.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Full size what?
Snickers bars.
Snickers bars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full-size candy bars if you make it.
It
Not the
sounded
little-
like you said like a barn or something.
Oh.
Like a full size barn? That's big.
we give away land. Who doesn't want land for Halloween?
Yeah, I would take the Snickers bar.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want a barn either. No, full-size candy bar. That's what Halloween's all about. So that's what about
we
you?
already have a barn.
So we
or
don't
a
need
farm.
we don't need it. We don't need to finish that if we get a barn because we already have.
You don't need two barns? All right. I guess you just have to sell for a candy bar. What about you? What's your favorite holiday?
Well, actually, we actually kind of have two barns.
I love it.
My favorite holiday is Christmas. Or my birthday, I don't know. Does my birthday count as a holiday?
Only for you.
Okay, then my birthday.
Except for the other people that their birthday is on his birthday.
That's a very good point.
My birthday's closer right now, so it's my favorite right now.
So you like when your holiday is closer. That's what you like. I like that idea. That's smart thinking.
But other than your birthday, it's Christmas.
Mhm.
What about you, Peyton?
Christmas.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's hard to say no to all those fun presents. What about you, Anne-Marie? Would you say Halloween too?
Oh,
or-
Halloween.
Yeah, we're both pretty Halloween crazy. Halloween's kind of like Christmas for grown-ups.
You just don't get, like, for kids, Halloween, you just get a bunch of candy, but on Christmas and on your birthday, you get a few presents too.
Yeah, that's the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have any questions for us?
Well, I heard you guys are into Legos a lot. Are there any sets that you would say are your favorite or anything you've built that's just super cool?
I built, like, a flaming fire snake lately.
That sounds
I
kind
have to.
Can I go get it really quick? He's not gonna.
Can I
Just
get mine?
pause really quick.
of... We'll be right
I'll
back.
go get yours, Peyton.
Here's our Lego snake.
That's his, and then I have one that I didn't show you.
Whoa, look at all
Look
the
at-
crazy joints in that.
Yeah.
Boy,
Its
Legos have
face
come a
is
long way from that.
fire. Its face is fire.
Wow.
Wow.
This is mine.
Ooh, he's got like wings and a scorpion tail thing going on. That is
Mine
really...
has
He
a
has
scorpion tail.
Oh, I didn't see. Nice. Very
You
good.
like the tongue sticking out?
That is
But
pretty.
the bottom of his wings looks really cool.
Oh, yeah. Is that clear?
Those two are clear.
Oh, that's cool.
And then
Yeah,
if you look really closely, you can see that those two are clear too.
And look,
Nice.
it's a hand actually.
Use
Like
the
a-
hand for the tail.
That's awesome.
And it connects to that through there right here.
I feel like it would be kind of hard for real life if you always had a tail that you had, like, you had 3 arms and you always had a tail you had to hold. Just like, I can't hold your thing too, or else my tail would fall off.
Exactly. That's not
And then
necessarily
you-
the best
And then
design.
you let go and you're just like, where'd my tail go?
Very cool. That's very creative. I'm very impressed, guys. That is awesome.
Well, Justin wanted to show you his Lego toys too.
So I made spaceships a couple of weeks ago.
Whoa.
I don't know what got into me, but I was like, I need to make some Lego spaceships. So I made 2 different ones. This one's got these weird pylon things. So there you go.
That kind of looks like the X ship from Star Wars.
A little bit, right? Yeah. I was thinking it was bigger. Like this would be like where the captain sits and there's like guns all over it and big old engines on the side and all that. So anyway, that's what I was working on when you guys said you were into Lego. I was like, well, I have some right here.
I was probably doing taxes.
Yes,
The
she was
first-
doing grown-up work.
The first one kind of looked like a submarine.
You
My,
did, right?
my snake is named Slithers.
I like that. That's a very good snake name. Slither.
Mine doesn't have a name, but he's like the Fire King.
Nice. I like it.
I don't
I like-
know if you noticed.
I like putting him.
His
just
head is
right-
made of lava.
right here.
Oh, is that what that is? Cool. Man,
I'm
those
just-
pieces are awesome.
I like putting it just right here,
it's
like you put a snake.
like a secret necklace nobody knows you have. That's pretty awesome.
We're gonna ask you a couple of would you rather questions before we finish.
Sounds great.
Would you rather have a voice like Minnie Mouse or a voice like Bowser?
I guess I'd have to pick Minnie Mouse.
I would take Bowser.
Our mom said she would rather have a voice like Bowser. I don't know.
Done.
People will take you a lot more seriously, I think, with the Bowser voice.
That's true. That's true.
Would you rather be completely alone with nobody for 1 year or never be alone for even 1 minute for 1 year?
Oh, wow. Ooh.
I'll take being alone.
Yeah, I think so, because like that's hard. Yeah, I'll do the same thing. It'd be sad. I'd be very glad when that year was over, but yeah.
That's kind of like quarantining.
Yeah, it's not like what we're doing now.
You can't really make any games.
Oh no, that's not fair. That would be hard.
And you guys wouldn't be together because you would be alone.
I know,
Yeah,
that'd be so
yeah,
sad.
Yeah.
I would do it together because it doesn't say how you'd need to be together.
Like, you could be like a mile away just talking to each other on the phone.
Maybe, but you have to
Yeah.
always have somebody you're talking to or around. That's a lot.
And it didn't say how many people, so I could just have my family with me.
And that's pretty
true.
good, right?
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. It depends who's with you can make a big difference.
Yeah. If I'm stuck with her, that's no problem.
When you're playing a game, how do you know if it's a good game?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I just know because if I play it, then I know if it's really good because I will play it good.
Like, I would consider every game we have a good game because I like playing it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good answer.
How
It's
soon-
just if I like how the game plays. If I don't like how the game plays, I don't consider it a good game.
kind of a gut instinct, it sounds like, which I think is how a lot of us play. How quick do you think you know if a game you're going to like it or not like it?
Well, actually, except the one that we actually don't have. Well, it's not ours, but we're just borrowing it so we can teach it.
Nice.
It's
It's
called
the
Code
orange
Names.
and purple code names.
Oh, yeah, Codenames is
yeah.
great.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot of fun.
We have that one and then a green one somewhere and a Disney one. The green,
Oh, yeah.
I thought
There's
that was
100 versions.
But that's from another
It's
one.
right behind you. But you can turn around. It's okay.
Oh, it's right there, and then the Disney one is
Nowhere to be seen.
You might be holding it.
somewhere.
I pretty much know if I like a
That's
game
what
about
that is.
like-
That was good.
when all of us do a turn. When
Mm,
all of us do a turn, I know if I like the game,
nice. Yeah, you've had a chance to
Pretty
see
much-
how it
which is
plays.
pretty much every game.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not going to name this game, but we tried a new one a couple of days ago, and we knew with just one turn that
It wasn't one of our favorites.
It wasn't one of our favorites.
Yeah,
so,
we didn't even, we finished one turn and everybody else said, I think we're done.
Yeah.
I think we're done. Sometimes it's easier that way. We saved a lot of time and got onto another game after that.
Thanks for letting us talk to you and ask you some questions. It was
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
looking forward to talking to you again sometime.
I like
Thank
it.
you. Yeah, so were we. This was a lot of fun.
Super fun. You guys are great. I'm very excited to see what your games turn into. And yeah, happy to talk to you about anything, anytime.
Yeah. If you ever need advice, just let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye. See you next time.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
This was a lot of fun, so be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you won't miss out on any of our future episodes.
See you later.
Bye!